What's up, YouTube? Driven Trucking here, and I'm going to start a new segment, and I'm going to call it Securement 101. For any of you that wants to maybe brush up on your securement skills, or even learn, or thinking about getting into flatbed, yeah, that's why I'm doing this. So today we've got a very easy one. I just showed you I've got two big pieces of pipe, and we're going to use straps for this. So I went over it a little bit before, and straps secure from one side of the trailer to the other side of the trailer. And they go through this rub rail, and the hook can either connect to the rub rail or can go underneath. Some have chains. There's all different types of straps. So on the one side, you're going to connect to that rub rail. And on the other side, where you have all the excess, and not the hook, of course, you've got winches. All right? And so I have on my trailer, on both sides, I've got a sliding track, so I have winches on both sides. I like to secure from both sides. When you tighten down on the winch side, that's going to be the side that's going to have the most pressure. So, and something like this, that's going to have multiple straps, you want to have pressure coming from both sides, especially, I mean, this is round, it is sitting on a type of rack, so it's not going to roll, but it's best to have securement coming from both sides so you have that pressure kind of pulling down equally. Always remember, whatever you do on one side, you want to do it on the other side. So for instance, right here, I've got this is called a pocket. So if you attach a strap to the front of the pocket, you're going to want to put your strap on the other side in front, directly across from this pocket in front. Okay, so always have it equally. Now, so indirect securement, what that means, we already talked about that, going from one side to the other. The indirect securement, you get credit for twice the working load limit of whatever it is you're using to secure. I'm going to be using 4-inch straps. The working load limit on a 4-inch strap is going to be 5,400 pounds on the ones that I have. I like to round down, make life easy, so I just call it an easy 5,000. Technically, one strap will count for 10,000 pounds of securement. Now, even though these pieces of pipe are pretty large, they're pretty light. I mean, I only have two pieces. The total load's about 26,000 pounds, so about 13,000 pounds. Okay, so technically, to cover the weight by DOT standards, I only need two straps. However, you have to take into account the length. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is you start from the front of whatever it is that you're securing. So right here, okay, I'm gonna take this on my trailer, and I can go over. So you go over one pocket. You've got two in between each pocket. Okay, this one that I started at is going to be the back one. So in the next one, you go to the back one. That's 2 feet. Okay, so there's 2 feet in between each pockets. There's 2 feet equally all the way down my trailer. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Now, I knew these were 20-foot pipes, but I wanted to show you that you can actually do that and figure out how long something is. Because let's say that it's turned off, it's not perfectly lined up with my trailer. Well, you have to measure from the very farthest point of this piece of pipe all the way to the very front of this piece of pipe. Okay, so technically, if you look at this, I mean, you can't see it, but I can see it. It's not perfectly centered and straight on my trailer. So what that means is that this is actually longer than 20 feet. So even if it is a hair over 20 feet, I'm going to have to count it as longer than 20 feet. And the reason that's important is because whenever you're determining what kind of securement you need for length, for every 10 foot, you need at least one piece of securement. Now, there's another caveat. I do not have a headboard, okay? Which means there's not an example here at the yard, but I don't have anything blocking this piece of pipe in front of it. So whenever you do not have a headboard, you have to add one piece of securement, okay? So we determined that this is longer than 20 feet, okay? So when you divide that by 10, you always have to round up, of course. So 3 pieces of securement for the length plus 1 for no headboard. So I need 4 on a minimum. Does 4 cover my weight, for this piece of, for what I'm securing, what I'm transporting? Yeah, almost always your length is going to cover the weight. Not always, but generally almost always. So 4 straps is what I need to properly secure this piece of pipe. Now, you see that gap in between the 2 pieces of pipe. Now, because there's a gap there, this back piece of pipe does not have a headboard either. If they were all the way up against each other, you would not need to add the +1 because you would have, quote unquote, a headboard for that back piece of pipe back here. But we've got this gap right here, so you are gonna have to add 1. Now, it's the same piece of pipe as the one in front, so I'm not gonna walk it down. And honestly, I'm not even gonna check to see if it's centered perfectly. I mean, there's no reason to. In the other video that I posted, the minimum amount of securement is just, to me, that just doesn't cut it. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. There's no reason to try to rack up CSA points. That is not a game that you want to try to get the highest score on. So anyway, I'm gonna need 4 for the back, so I'm gonna need 8 total. I'm not gonna show you throwing my straps, but yeah, so that's how you kind of determine how many pieces of securement you need by length and by weight, and if you have a headboard. So I'll show you what the finished product is when I'm done. All right, so we're all tied down now. And I do apologize, the wind has picked up a little bit, so I don't know if you're catching any of that. If you are, I apologize. But, so we've got our 4 straps on both sets of pipe. Now, what I didn't cover before was, do the straps need to be in a specific position? Haha, yes they do. So, like I said, you need a piece of securement for every 10 feet. You also have to have a piece of securement in every 10 feet. And when you do not have a header board anywhere, you have to have 2 pieces of securement within the first 10 feet. So we start from our little marker here. We've got 2, we're covered there, there's 1, 4, 6, 8. So it's just on the other side of the 8-foot mark, and there's my second piece of securement. So we're covered as far as the first 2 and the first 10 feet. Now we'll check the rest. So from this piece of securement, we're gonna go 10 feet. So we're gonna go 2, 4, we're actually 6 foot on this one. And then we're gonna go 2. Wow, we're actually only 4 foot on this one. So doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but you can't exactly put, 4 straps all right next to each other, on a load. That's just not gonna work. So now that we've covered where they go, how much you need to cover both weight and length, I'm gonna cover one little pro tip here, and I did this on purpose, and I'm going to I'm getting fuel about, I don't know, maybe 30, not even 30 miles up the road, so I don't know if the strap's gonna quite move enough within that 30 miles. It might not. But, so that strap, you see that yellow strap that's right there over my head, that strap is almost perfectly up and down, okay? So what I mean by that is from where it is secured in the winch to going over the piece of pipe, it is almost directly over the top. And so the shortest distance between 2 points is obviously a straight line, and you want to have straight lines as much as possible when you are doing your securement. This is something that even pros overlook. So what I did was I offset this blue one, and you can clearly see that it is a ways offset. I mean, it is a good ways offset. So you can see that this one here is straight, and this one is going towards the front of that piece of pipe. Now, why is that important? Because when you're going down the road, you've got wind, you've got bumps, you've got all kinds of vibrations, and technically, since this one is off-centered, there is more strap. You know, if these two straps are the exact same length, there is more strap being used here than there is back here. So you've got some slack. And whenever the wind vibration happens or the bumps or whatever, this strap is slowly going to make its way to the perfect center. And that is why you have to stop and check your securement. Now, I did this to prove a point. I just wanted to show you guys. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to stop and get fuel, and I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see if that strap has moved enough. If it has, I'll go ahead and get that, in video. If it hasn't, I'll go a little further. The route that I'm going, there's not exactly a whole lot of truck stops on this route. So, but we'll figure it out. I'll show you guys, the rest of my securement is nice and tight. You can play a tune. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it because of the wind, but you can take the edge of that strap and pick it just like a guitar, and you can hear that tune. Okay? Now, some guys like to put a half twist in their securement whenever they're doing straps. And I do that sometimes, but whenever I can really cinch down tight on something, it's actually unnecessary. And what it does if I do not do that is I will know when one of my straps has kind of worked itself loose or maneuvered like this blue one's going to do. And whenever you see it in the mirror, you see it, the wind starts to vibrate it, you'll know that it's a little bit loose. So you'll need to tighten it. Now, on some loads, like plastic pipe or PVC pipe, for instance, you can't really cinch down too tightly. It needs to be tight, but you'll crush the product. So in a case like that, that is a good time to go ahead and put that half twist, not a full twist, half twist in your straps on both sides. And that will actually keep it, from vibrating from the wind going down the road. So anyway, I hope you like this video. Go ahead and click the like button if you do like it. Subscribe to my channel, hit that bell so that way you know whenever my next video is coming out. I'm not perfect, guys, and I don't know everything that there is to securement, but I know enough to give some guys who don't know much about it, give them some knowledge. So yeah, I may miss something. I may even say something incorrectly. If I do, go ahead and put in the comments down below. Let me know what I did to screw up. And hey, I'm all about learning. I love learning. I never fail. I only learn. So anyway, I will see you guys in a little while, and we're going to take a look at this blue strap, and I'm going to show you how drivers lose loads that way. All right, so now we're at the fuel stop, and I said it was almost 30 miles away. It was actually only 19, but I came back here to check the strap, and after only 19 miles, look how loose that is. We're talking 19 miles. Imagine going 500, Look at this. I can't squeeze that together like this. And I cinched this down. I cinched this down just as tight as I cinched this one down. You hear the difference? I'm hoping you can hear that. You should be able to hear that. Such a difference. You can hear this one's much higher pitched, and so that's how you know if it's tight or not. So anyway, the point of this is try to get your straps as straight as possible up and down, because that's going to be the most direct line to the other side. You're going to use less strap, and it's going to stay tighter throughout your entire trip. This right here, this is the reason why drivers lose loads, or something gets messed up, maybe something shifts, all kinds of things. I mean, and this is so simple. Do your securement checks. Do your securement checks. You want to check within the first 50 to 100 miles of every load that you do. And it kind of depends. I mean, something like this, you're really not in huge danger of losing this load. If you're a beginner, I mean, just don't go more than 50 miles. You know, you'll feel it out as you get more in touch, and you haul more loads, and you get this whole flatbed thing figured out. But you know, you always want to stop. You never want to go more than 100 miles, because I mean, look what happened just inside of 19 miles to this one strap. So be cognizant of where your straps are located. If you do that, you don't have to worry about losing loads, you know, and you do your securement checks. So I hope you learned something. Thanks for sticking with me. I know this was a little bit longer. I'm probably going to try to shorten these a little bit in the future. But I do have a lot of information to get out, and this is, you know, kind of the beginning of Securement 101, so there's a little bit more to learn. If you have any questions at all, maybe something I didn't cover or something that's not clear, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I do check those. I will get back to you. If you've got any video ideas for me, let me know, guys. But until then, stay safe and stay driven.